Remakes are never an easy thing to do, and when it's Resident Evil, you run the risk of upsetting a lot of people. So is Resident Evil Remake worth playing today? Initially released in March 2002 for the GameCube, this would be an enhanced version of the 1996 Resident Evil, Biohazard as it's known in Japan. Don't worry, I'm not going to go into all the development history, there are plenty of videos on that on YouTube that cover that already. What you want to know is if I think it's worth your time today. So let's split this up into story, gameplay and conclusion. With the most recent release of Resident Evil, as the time of recording being Resident Evil Village, it would have brought a lot of new players to the franchise. In fact, in the comments let me know which game you actually started with. Comment section is right under that like button. If you're one of the new people, you might want to find out who Chris is or how it all started. Going back to its roots is highly recommended. Don't worry, I'm not going to go into spoilers here, but to give you an overview of what to expect. Bizarre murders have been happening in the outskirts of a midwestern town called Raccoon City. Raccoon City Police Department's Special Tactics and Rescue Service, or STARS for short, are sent in to investigate. Bravo Team's helicopter loses radio contact, so Alpha Team is sent in to search for them. When Alpha Team find Bravo's crashed helicopter in the woods, they're attacked by a pack of dogs. Running for shelter, they make it into a giant mansion, and it's here you will spend most of your time in game. Your captain soon goes missing, and you, the player, need to find out what's going on and how to get out of the mansion. You soon realise this isn't an ordinary house, filled with traps, monsters and giant spiders. As you make your way through the mansion, you'll uncover that everything isn't as it seems. Your arrival at the mansion wasn't just an accident. And can you trust even your own teammates? What's great about the story is it makes minimal changes to the original game, and what it does do is expand on that story, with new areas that make sense and a whole new history and the mystery that is seamlessly integrated. Like the original, you can choose between Chris or Jill to play as. Both are slightly different, Chris meeting Rebecca and Jill working with Barry. Jill is slightly easier as she does have more inventory slots and can hold more items, and so also starts with a gun. Chris on the other hand starts with just a knife and is about much use as a tickling stick. You navigate the mansion, the first thing you'll notice is probably the controls. Resident Evil uses a fixed camera angles and tank control scheme. For those of you unfamiliar with tank controls, it basically means your movement controls change depending on the direction your character is facing. So, for example, if the player's character is facing away from you, pushing up will make them walk forward. But if the camera angle switches and they're now facing the camera, pressing down will make them walk forward, whereas pressing up will make them turn back around. It can be a little bit tricky to master, but once you get your head around it, it does make sense, and you'll stop running around in circles. All the rooms are there from the original game, but now they look very detailed. More rooms have been added to make more sense, better lighting and spooky music. As you make your way through the mansion, you'll need to solve plenty of puzzles. And although they have made some of them somewhat easier than the original game, they still don't hold your hand. There's no yellow sticky tape that cries out, "Oh, look over here." However, the puzzles are all logical. For example, find a sheet music, pop it into the book, and you have a full piano piece that you can play on the piano. Inventory is something else that you'll need to manage. There are giant chests dotted around where you can store your equipment, but only you have a limited amount of spaces to carry items. You'll need a weapon to take on enemies, and that will need ammunition, so you'll want to carry a healing item too, just in case you get jumped. So already you're down by 3 slots. Moving around the mansion can be quite dangerous, so you'll need to pick your routes carefully. Although you do get access to bigger and better weapons, ammo doesn't come around too often, and you'll need to work out which zombies are best to leave and which ones are better as worm food. As an added layer of difficulty, and a new feature from the original game, is the Crimson Head. These monsters are a more powerful version of the standard zombie. They take more shots to kill, and they can move really quickly. They mutate from regular zombies after you've killed them, and in order to avoid this, you'll need to burn the bodies. And guess what? You don't have enough fuel to burn everybody, so again you're going to need to work out which ones you can get away with leaving alive, and which ones you can kill, and which ones you definitely need to burn. As you move through the mansion, you'll come across a number of puzzles. I do like that they're integrated into the story by the addition of George Trevor. He was the original designer of the mansion, and you now found out about him and his family and why there are so many strange puzzles, giving them context. It was supposed to be part of the original, but it was cut from the final game. The puzzles are not overly complex, in fact some areas like the painting have been made a lot easier, but still, unlike modern games, you have to use your own logic. So to summarise, if you're a Resident Evil fan or you're new to the series, then this game is going to be the better of the two original games. It looks better, it's more detailed, it has better environments, lighting and improved voice acting. The original game is good for nostalgia, but it hasn't aged well. And if you want to get the full story of the George Treasure editions, then this is the game to play. There have been a few failed attempts at bringing Resident Evil to the big screen, and I have a theory on how to stop them from failing. But to see that, you'll need to watch this video here. Stay safe, survivors. I'll see you next time.